I welcome the participants to the stream Development Challenges in Tribal Areas and Aspirational Districts. I am going to introduce you to the stream and will be discussing the session plans in a comprehensive manner. Just to give you a background, several debates in the post-independence period with regard to the welfare of the tribal communities led to two major approaches to the tribal society. On the one hand, the principle of assimilation, whereby the argument is that the tribal societies are Hindus and they should be assimilated with the mainstream. On the other hand, Warrior Alvin argues that the tribal societies had their unique customs and traditions and that should be preserved. As a result, the present approach which the state has been following is to preserve the traditions and the customs of the tribal communities, but at the same time to bring them to the mainstream by providing various schemes and the development policies of the government. This course is designed to understand the racial, cultural and economic classification of the tribes in India and the challenges that they face in their development and their deprivation. The stream also updates the knowledge about good public policy, the development for the social and economic inclusion of the tribes. The objective of the stream is to examine the development and deprivation of the tribes in India. It is basically to understand the rich cultural heritage, indigenous knowledge and the culture of the tribes. It is also to understand what government policies are impacting in what ways and what are the challenges that government is facing in the mainstreaming these tribals, and to update the knowledge about good public policy, development for the social and economic conservation, assimilation and integration of the tribes. Method of teaching, we are going to take a broad range of teaching method, which will be a lecture method, we will be showing and screening documentaries, we will be conducting group discussions and organizing talks by the experts. The first session is going to be the indigenous people of India or the tribes in India. Who are these tribal people? Their definition, characteristics and geographical distribution in India. Natives, aboriginals, First Nations, Adivasis, hunter-gatherers or the hill tribes. They are being called by different names. The racial, cultural and economic classification of tribes in India. Now, it is very important to understand why we study tribes, why it is important to conserve, assimilate and integrate. So, we will be showing you and we will be discussing the tribes in India and the society, economic and cultural aspects of them, the development of particularly vulnerable tribes in India, issues and challenges, so that by the end of this session, you are going to have a complete understanding of geographical distribution, isolation and special characterization of these tribes, and also about their backwardness and shyness. The second session will be the indigenous color of India. The tribes as indigenous people, tribal indigenous knowledge. Studies on Adivasis and indigenous people in India. We are going to talk about the society, the comprehensive slides on PVTGs, the characterization and distributions on their cultural and ethnic, and sharing a small write-up on studies of tribes, the Adivasis and indigenous people in India. The third session is going to be approaches to the tribal development based on three models to conserve, assimilate and to integrate. There are pre and post approaches to the tribal development, that is Nehru, Thakkar, S.C. Roy and Alvin. We are going to take political approach, administrative approach, missionary approach, voluntary agencies approach and anthropological approach to these aspects of approaches to the tribal development. We are going to take some quizzes, PPTs and discussions on Nehru and Alvin, and documentary on various approaches will be shown to you, and Adivasi Vikas, a reply to the Honorable Minister of Tribal Affairs. These are some of the well-known documentaries that we are going to give it to you, and panel discussion with voluntary agencies on SHGs and microfinance. So, it is going to be a complete comprehensive session on approaches to why do we conserve, assimilate and integrate the tribals. Session 4 will be on Indian way of handling tribal affairs and tribal development. We are going to take in-depth constitutional debates, constitutional provisions and legislative matters, constitutional and legal safeguards that have been provided to the tribal development, and the 5th and the 6th schedule. The whole comprehensive issues of tribal development are to be taken in depth. We are going to provide the PPTs, the documentaries on constitutional debates, there will be group discussions and also comprehensive slides on the 5th and 6th schedule in a comparative manner, and it will be giving you a better understanding of constitutional debates and the safeguards and the constitutional provisions of tribal development in Indian way. The 5th session is going to be Tribal Welfare Program in India. The tribal development programs in national perspective, Special Central Assistance to Tribal Sub-Scheme SCA to TSS, Grants and Aid Article 275, development of particularly vulnerable tribal groups PVTGs and appraisal of different development programs. ITDP, SCA, LAMPS, TriFed, ashram schools, mobile hospitals, tribal hostels and coaching centers. Numerous welfare programs of Government of India which we have stated here are the flagship programs which we are going to discuss in session 5. Again, there will be comprehensive slides, PPTs will be there, and we will be giving you certain documentaries to make you understand the session better. Session 6 will be targeted development initiatives. Session 6 is going to take the health and traditional medicines of the tribals and the government initiative taken in this particular sphere. Tribal health in India, tribal health problems, diseases, ameliorative challenges in tribal communities, traditional healing practices and folk medicines, traditional medicines and healthcare practices, government initiative improving health services for the tribal population. There will be panel discussion, PPT, health conditions of the tribal communities and quizzes. And by the end of the session, the participants will be able to understand the tribal health and government initiatives. Session 7 will be on tribal livelihood and innovative practices and government initiatives. Sustainable tribal livelihood initiatives are very important for tribal development. So, we are going to discuss in depth on agriculture based innovations of tribal livelihood and best practices, forest based innovations, animal husbandry, sericulture, pisciculture, art and craft and government initiatives taken to enhance the tribal livelihood. And again, by the end of this session, the participants will be able to understand the tribal sustainable livelihood and best practices that we have in Indian tribal context. Now, the last 3 sessions will be policy component and affirmative action that is being taken to mainstream these tribals. So, session 8 is going to be on problems of tribal communities with respect to policy implications, that is alienation, migration, displacement and rehabilitations. Cultural exposure, exploitation, cultivation and agriculture, indebtedness, development policies and practices, politicization and deforestation in tribal economy. So, we are going to take a very comprehensive social, cultural and economic issues of the tribals which we could rate as problems of the tribal communities, and we will be sharing some films on land alienation, displacement, rehabilitation, forest rights acts, and also some talks by the experts on development projects and politicization. So, by the end of this session, the knowledge of contemporary tribal issues and their application in policy development will be clear to the participant. Session 9 will be on tribal affirmative actions, fast tracking growth and economic development of the tribals, strengthening of tribal producers company, operational monitoring of self-help group, other kendras, tertiary value addition centers, robust IT platform, mobile application, digitalization of state proposal and dashboards. So, these are some of the special sub issues that we are going to take under this affirmative action, and we will be giving you comprehensive PPTs on these, documentaries on self-help group, promoting women empowerment. There will be panel discussions on experts, and also the Triad Vandhan scheme self-help group formation. Every details will be shared with you, so that certain affirmative action that is taken by the government initiative will be displayed and will be discussed with you. Session 10, fast tracking growth and economic development for tribal way forward. We are going to take final policy analysis in this session. Incremental policies and progress not enough. India needs high jump. So we are going to discuss robust IT platform and mobile app monitoring implementation activities, GIS integration, constant monitoring and hand-holding of entrepreneurial programs is required, strengthening of tribal SSGs by clusterization and establishing tribal producers companies, need for cooperative affairs divisions CAD for assisting the on-field into producers company and value addition programs to the MSP for MFP. So these are some of the way forwards that we are going to discuss. The sessions will be very interactive, we will have some experts, certain documentaries, there will be number of panel discussions, group discussions, and we will be trying to make it very participatory in nature, and this is how the tribe has been described from the conservation, preservation to assimilation to mainstreaming is the basic mode, is undercurrent that we are going to take in these sessions. So thank you participants.